Hello, my name's Oliver, and today I'd like to run you through how to set up and configure the new Midivex MIDI routing app. Midivex is new and it's quite interesting in that it's a visual matrix on how to set up your MIDI routes, and as well as that we have MIDI effects on each of those routes, and then we can take that further and actually add MIDI patches where you can send all your program changes and receive all your program changes and basically have them configured as presets or songs. There's lots of other features built in as well, a full clock, clicks, quantize, all of those sorts of things are in there. But this first video is just going to concentrate on the route setup, and then you can have a look at the other ones to take that further. So what you can see on the screen is the basic Midivex app, and here you can see the grid. And at the moment the devices that are plugged into my computer are shown, but their names are a bit confusing. There's some pretty tricky names there. I've got a MIDI hub and all sorts of long names. So we want to go through a small setup process, which basically once you're done it's sort of set and forget. So let me run you through that. We want to click on the gear icon to go to setup, and here are those list of devices. But what we can do is we can set a friendly name for them. So rather than calling it that, I know that it's a piece of modular gear called Avon Synth. Here I've got something called an Alesis QSR, and here I've got the old Yamaha TX81Z, and down here Hydrasynth looks a bit long, so I'm just going to call it Hydrasynth, makes it a little bit easier to see. I've got a couple of virtual ports here which I don't really need, so I'm going to use the hide button and just to get rid of those. Likewise, I don't really use that one there. This is my main keyboard here, the Native Instruments Mark III keyboard, and I might just call that Moog to make it a little bit easier, and Profit as well, and then everything else looks fine. The next thing we can do is we can set the default MIDI channel for all of those instruments. Again, when we click and create a route, it'll automatically use those MIDI channels. So we do it once and it's done. I do know most of these, so I'm going to leave the Alesis at all because it's a multi-timbral instrument, which we'll come back to. Channel 6 for the Yamaha, channel 5 for the Hydrasynth, the Moog is on 4, the Profit is on 1, and the drum machine's on 10, and the Take 5 is on channel 3. What we also have is synth presets. So each synthesizer has got different ways that it receives program changes, and to try and help with that we're creating a database of common synths. So rather than having to work that out for yourself, we can actually use the drop down here from synth presets, and we can set this Alesis to that particular keyboard. That way when we change program changes it will look the same as it feels on the keyboard. Now the list is growing. If you've got a keyboard that you'd like us to add with their presets, do let us know. We're happy to do that. It's a cloud-based system. It's really easy to update. So I'm just setting those here to the right preset configurations, and the Profit goes on to there, and the Take 5 we can put in there as well. There's one last thing we can do. We mentioned about the multi-timbral synth. So that's a synth that can play on multiple MIDI channels at the same time. We can support that here. So what we can do is we can make this Alesis a multi-timbral instrument. And you see in effect it gets a sub part. Now I might put this on channel 10 and give it a friendly name of 10 on here. And maybe I'll add 3, 11 and 12. So therefore it treats it pretty much as a separate instrument. You can do different program changes on those parts. You could route those to different keyboards. It's done, it's set up. We've also got virtual ports which you can manage as well, but we'll come back to those in an advanced section. Pretty much that is it. So when I close this down and I go back to my matrix, much easier to see. Now what I can do is here's my main keyboard, the Mark III, and so if I go across to here and select Profit, you can see it's put in a route for that. And if I play a note, there it is playing on the keyboard. Pretty easy. What I can also do is probably mark this as an Omni instrument, so therefore if I route any channels it's going to pick it up. An example of that, if I take that route off and put a route on the Take 5, now I'm playing that as well. Or if I take that off and maybe put it on the Moog, there's channel 4. What I can also do is you can see the Alesis and you can see its sub-channels there as well. I could actually put it on channel 10 here, which is playing one part of the Alesis. I think that's drums. So here I'm playing some drums against that. Typically what you would do is you would build up all of the routes that you wanted. So the profit maybe routes to the hydrosynth, and vice versa. The take 5 maybe routes to the drum machine, and away we go. But let's just explore that a little bit more. If I was on say this particular 10 here, we're on the drum machine. You can see it because it's flashing as it goes. We can do something else. We can actually also click on it and add effects to this particular route. A good example is I might just drag the echo effect up onto here, and you can see it's on quarter at 3. And if I play that kick drum again, okay, I can hear that. Maybe I could change that to 8. Okay, bit slow. How about an 1/8? And maybe I'd like it to fade out faster. Cool, let's try. There we go. So that's one kind of effect that you could add to drums or to notes. All of these effects can be stacked as well, so I'll show you how that works. Let's perhaps add on a, let's change this to a, we'll just go to the, say the take 5 on here, just so we're, and maybe we want to put on the ARP. So now when I hold down a chord, of course you've got things like 16ths and up downs and how many octaves you'd like to go up and down. So now we're playing. Okay, and we know there's an effect on this particular route because it's gone into a square. So square has effects on it, and circle ones are just simple routes. Let's take that off there, and we'll just put the Moog on to give you another example. This is the Moog. There we go. We've got some bass notes here, and we could put the Transgate on. So now we've got this. Of course, I can put the different patterns that I'd like to have here. We can change things like the gate or staccato or re-triggers and the speed of those as well. So you get an idea of what's there, but we could also take that a little bit further. How about we went back to the profit, just to give you an example, and we've got our great, okay, and we'll put on a very simple, well actually we'll just show you the LFO I think by itself. So what we can do here is we can set CC destinations for this particular hardware synth. I'm going to set it to 102. I'm doing it the slow way. I could have actually just clicked the button and turned the knob. That would be fine as well. And now when we play a note, you'll see that the LFO is kicking in. It's a sine wave. But I could make that a little bit smaller. I can also adjust the timing of it. And maybe the offset. It's a bit, bring it down a bit. And then we have different waveforms as well, things like ramps and squares, and you can do those over a considerable length of time, 16 and 32 bars, and have a very slow coming in arrangement there. It's really, really cool to be able to use. Of course, I said we could double them up, so I might just contract the LFO so it's sitting there, and then I might actually add on the Transgate underneath that, and now they're working in conjunction with each other. So you get an idea that each particular route point can have its own MIDI effects added to it. What we can also do is save this route profile. So if I click on the save icon and I call this the studio rig, then it's saved. And I could add another route profile, and I could have this one set up as my modular rig. You get the idea. And I could just click on it and call it modular, or I might also have another one which is set up more for my live playing, which might have all my instruments here on the main keyboards as we go along. So now that we've got 3 routes, we can flick between them, change them, and add effects to each particular route. So what we've covered there is the basic route setup, Then we've added effects onto those routes and we've saved it. And Midivex just runs in the background, so what you can do is you can have that running just on your computer, on the Windows or the Mac, and it's really configured all of your MIDI for you. What we'll do is I think we'll stop it there. We've covered a lot, but we'll go on to the next video shortly, which is to set up patches and program management in Midivex. Hope you enjoyed that one. Cheers.